Welcome to the annual Homeless Count Volunteer Training. My name is David Gruber. I am the Development and Communications Director here at MDHA. Thank you for helping us with this important task. There is no way we could do it without you. By the end of this training, you should be ready to count our homeless friends. First, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what MDHA does the other 364 days of the year, just to give you a little bit of context of how the homeless count fits in to the rest of what we do. Imagine we could end homelessness. Not just help individuals, not just manage homelessness. Imagine we could eradicate it. Imagine we could make this intractable social ill a thing of the past. Now you might say, David, that's a fantasy. Think again. There are times in history, fairly recently in fact, that had I told you we would eradicate slavery, segregation, Indian removal, or institutional anti-Semitism, you might think me a fabulist. Yet here we are. So what do we mean when we say end homelessness? We do not mean no one ever becomes homeless. We do mean homelessness rarely happens. When it does, it is brief, and it never happens to that person again. Now, only one thing ends homelessness, and that is a home. This is the federal strategic plan to prevent and end homelessness. And the first word is key. We house folks who are experiencing homelessness. For some folks, that is all that is needed. For some other folks, we need to throw in a few services to assist them. However, it is important to emphasize that research and common sense align in this case. If someone does not have a home, house them, and they are no longer homeless. Now, the word together is very important too, because research shows that the only way to move the needle on any social problem is for everyone to work together to achieve a set of common goals. And research further shows that you need a strong backbone organization to guide that effort. And that, in Dallas, is MDHA. MDHA's role is to develop and quarterback an effective unified homeless response system where all homeless services providers work together to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. And the focus of MDHA's work is developing that system. Now, prior to 2009, our role was we had 4 different things we were doing then, prior to 2009. And I'm not talking just about MDHA again, I'm talking about our counterpart in every American community too. So we would facilitate grant funding for HUD-funded homeless services programs, Continuum of Care or COC grants totaling about, today, $17.5 million annually. We would administer the Homeless Management Information System that drives improvement of federally funded homeless services programs. That currently serves about 17,000 persons. We would maintain a count of persons experiencing homelessness, and we would maintain an inventory count of housing and shelter beds for the homeless and formerly homeless. And once again, the Hearth Act of 2009 basically codified all of those functions into that law and stated that we were to continue doing all of those different tasks. And in addition to that, we would develop and quarterback an effective unified homeless response system where all homeless services programs work together to make homelessness rare, brief, and non-recurring. So again, one of those tasks is counting the homeless. And that's why you're here, watching this training. So how do you get ready for the count? Well, you're already doing that by watching this video. You're going to want to make sure that you watch the app training video too. Then on the night of the count, arrive at your deployment site, ideally at 6:30 p.m. Ideally, your whole team at the same time. If you don't have a team, don't worry. We'll hook you up. We will check you in. We will refresh your training. We will assign you a route, your portion of the city that you will count in, and we will give you your packet. You will drive over to your route, ideally in one car. So here's an overview of the count. Once you arrive, thoroughly canvass your route as displayed in the app and on your backup paper map, as much of it on foot as applicable, using common sense. We ask that you not stray outside your route. There are other teams that are assigned to those routes, and if you both count the same homeless people, we will get an inexact count. When you encounter someone who is homeless, conduct an interview. That is highly preferred. If you cannot conduct an interview, you will conduct an observation, and you're going to use the app to do it. Once you're done, text the number we give you with your route number so we know you have finished and that you're safe. So that's just an overview. Now we're going to break it down step by step. First of all, we want you to stay safe. Travel together in one car, stay with your team, use your hazard lights as needed, pack several flashlights with fresh batteries, wear warm, bright clothing, charge all devices and pack car chargers. If specific terrain or a specific area on your route feels unsafe, don't go there. Know where you are at all times. You can mark an address, an intersection, landmarks, and when parked, display the dashboard signs we give you in your packet. Now it's important to remember, if you've seen one homeless person, well, you've seen one homeless person. They are as heterogeneous as the rest of us. There is no reason to feel unsafe around someone just because they're experiencing homelessness. However, use common sense. If you do not feel safe and comfortable interacting with someone, don't. Trust your instincts. Err on the side of caution. If you sense you are in danger, call 911. So where should you look? On the street, in tents, alleyways, buildings, or cars. In 24/7 restaurants, behind restaurants and around dumpsters, at transit stations, around emergency shelters, around and under overpasses, in emergency room waiting areas, in Walmart parking lots, in motel parking lots. Who should you look for? For the purposes of this count, we use HUD's definition of homelessness, i.e., anyone spending the night in a place not meant for human habitation. There are other definitions of homelessness used by other federal departments. However, on the night of the count, we focus on folks that meet this definition. That means, for instance, that folks that are doubled up or paying for their own stay in hotels or motels are not counted as homeless, even though other federal departments do consider them homeless. Keep in mind that individuals experiencing homelessness have many belongings with them because they must carry around all their possessions. They might have carts or strollers. They might have suitcases and or very full hefty bags. At the very least, they might have a very full backpack. They probably have many layers of clothes. Approach with courtesy. Introduce yourself. Hello, my name is David and I am a volunteer with the Metro Dallas Homeless Alliance. We are interviewing persons experiencing homelessness. Keep in mind that even though the person is living somewhere not meant for human habitation, it's still their personal space and they consider it to be home. Treat it with respect. Ask permission to approach. Is it okay if we approach your camp? Is it okay if we approach your tent? Don't bang on things. Don't make loud noises. Don't speak loudly. Don't shine flashlights in anyone's face. The best thing to do is to interview each one of the homeless persons you encounter. Explain why you're there. Is it okay if we ask you some questions? We are surveying folks who are homeless so we can improve services for you and our community. We also have care packages to share with you. You are asking them to do something for you. Offering them a care package is a way of reciprocating. If they say yes, use the app to conduct a survey interview with them. Go through the questions one by one. If at all possible, try to make it more of a conversation than just a Q&A. You might even have one person do the talking and another person mark the answers in the app. If a person is not willing to be interviewed or is asleep, conduct an observation interview using the app. Enter as much information as you can discern from observing the person. A person may deny being homeless out of concern for their own safety. Conduct an observation if you firmly believe they are homeless. Offer the person the care package anyway. Don't condition it on being willing to be interviewed. That said, the very giving of the care package might cause someone to change their mind and be willing to be interviewed. If there's a closed tent and those inside are not willing to open it and be interviewed, don't just guess. Ask how many folks are in there. Record this as an observation interview. I'm sorry, an observation survey. Finishing the count. Remember to thank each person you interact with. Even if they weren't willing to be interviewed, it never hurts to thank someone. Once you've canvassed your entire route, text the number we give you with your route number. That way, we know you have completed your route and have done so safely. So the count's done. Now what? Join us in March for the State of Homelessness address, and hear our President and CEO, Carl Falconer, share the results of the homeless count, a thorough review of the progress of Dallas's homeless response system over the preceding year, and the next steps the community must take to make homelessness in Dallas and Collin counties rare, brief, and non-recurring. And make sure you join us for next year's count too. What can you do in the meantime? Support your local homeless response system. We do what works, not what we hope will work or what we think will work. Good intentions cannot substitute for best practices. Ask us who is doing which, and use some common sense too. Advocate for more housing from all sources, government and non-government, in your neighborhood, because housing the homeless doesn't lower property rates and doesn't increase crime. We can end homelessness. It may be hard, but it's not complicated. Just ask Winnie the Pooh. I've been thinking, says Pooh. You have a house, Piglet, and I have a house. They are very good houses. And Christopher Robin has a house, and Owl and Kanga and Rabbit have houses, and even Rabbit's friends and relations have houses or somethings. But poor Eeyore has nothing. So what I've been thinking is, let's build him a house. That, said Piglet, is a grand idea. Thank you so much to each and every one of you.